Hello friends, Mark Holmes here with my buddy CowboyJobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Without you guys, this literally does not work. And man, I can't believe this Sunday without football is coming to a close. The weekends literally are flying by. In fact, time is flying by. And before we know it, it's going to be the season. And we still have a lot of work to do. I know a lot of people giving me grief because I'm talking about Earl Thomas, okay? You know, the same way I talk about Dak Prescott. It's fine. Listen, here's a real easy solution if I get on your nerves. If you don't like the videos, well, you don't have to watch. And to Kamar, oh my God, do I have to get a restraining order against you, dude? Dude, Atlanta Falcons fan. He wants me to get a video of him using a Dak Prescott jersey as a mop. He wants to send me a framed edition of a Matt Ryan jersey. Although I guess I could use a cleaning rag. But anyway, be that as it may, Earl Thomas. If anything, the Dallas Cowboys, we already know, listen, be that whether you think we need him or don't need him, the Cowboys have been interested in him for quite a while. The Cowboys have been talking to Seattle for quite a while. The Cowboys offered a third-round pick, which would have been Michael Gallup, for Earl Thomas. They were willing to take a second-round pick. Now, do you now believe that the Cowboys are no longer interested in him with Chris Richard here? Right now, Seattle does not want a long-term deal. And they are probably willing to negotiate a lower deal at this point. Better to take something than nothing. Because in the end, he could hold out for the whole season and just say, you know what, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. And at that point, you're better off to take something than nothing. Because in the end, look at us where we've let Des Bryant go. Nothing. DeMarcus Ware go. Nothing. A bird in the hand beats two in the bush. So the first question you have to ask is, if you're the Dallas Cowboys, what are you willing to now give up for an Earl Thomas? Now, one of the biggest things people say is, listen, we have to sign Zack Matin. We ain't got money for Earl Thomas. He wants a long-term deal. We don't have the cash. That, my friends, is you don't really understand how this situation works. Because if you actually sign Zack Matin to a long-term deal, you could actually save money on the cap. Huh? Mark, have you been stealing Jobu's rum? In fact, Jobu needs a refill. Let's pour him one while I give you a little capology here. See, here's what you have to understand. When Matty Ice, we'll talk about that, talk about being overpaid, signed a $150 million contract, what you have to pay attention to is what is the guaranteed money, because that's all that really matters. The players rarely see that money that's not guaranteed. Okay? There's $100 million that was guaranteed, so really his contract is $100 million. What happens is you make part of that a signing bonus. So day one, you sign this, here's a check. But that signing bonus is prorated over the life of the contract. It's divided up for how many years it is. So it's 8 years, you divide that up. Then you have guaranteed money. This is money we're going to pay you even if you cannot play a single play tomorrow. Because they will get that money. Everything else is you got to be there the whole contract to get it. So with that being said, you have to understand how you can work the numbers. To give you an example, Tyron Smith signed a $97 million contract. Okay? 22 million of it was guaranteed, 22 million of it was signing bonus. He was guaranteed he was going to get that money from day one. $44 million. What the Cowboys did was did a little creative work with the contract. His first year on that contract, he was only paid $5.6 million as far as the cap went, even though he got checked for $22 million day one. Day one as signing, here you go. The second year was slated to be $6 million, or excuse me, $5.3 million. The next year was slated to be $6 million. But the Cowboys put in their clauses so if they needed money, triggers, that basically with the sign of a pen, they can get more cap relief down the road. Hence why it's now $17.5 million for this year, because we needed money on the cap for other people on the team. So we borrowed money from him. That's why Tony Romo's contract, why we're still paying off that money, because we needed cash. But you put in things that we can get some money if we need to, a la payday loan, so to speak. So if you take Zack Matin, who right now is going to be scheduled to make $9.3 million, you can easily sign him to the highest guard contract out there, say $65 million, and end up making it basically the first year $5 million, $6 million hit, and now have another $3 or $4 million to work with. Are you following along with what I'm saying right now? Because money is not an issue. You can make the numbers work however you want to. And that $12 million that we have in cap space is more than enough to sign Zack Matin to a long-term deal. Get yourself another $3 million, and now you got $15 million to work with. Now, as far as Earl Thomas goes, when you look like Cam Chancellor, he signed a 3-year, $36 million contract. The safety in Kansas City, I believe, is the highest paid safety right now in the NFL at $13.5 million. Now, understanding that he's getting kicked to the curb from Seattle and he's going to a place that he may want to go with, he may be able to make it a more incentive-based contract and may not necessarily have to take that big thing. Because you got to understand, comfort is a big thing. I've got a ring. Pay me a fair market value. I'm home in Texas where I want to be and finish off my career. I'm working with a coach that I have a relationship with, and I'm on a young team that could possibly put the thumb in the eye of the team that I just left. So that's where you start looking at it and saying, okay, maybe he'll make a team-friendly type of deal. A home team, so to speak, discount. So money is not an issue. The bigger question is what would it take from the Cowboys to Seattle to make that deal? Is it still that third-round pick that they offered last draft for next year? Maybe. Or would you be even willing to go ahead and say, okay, we'll take that second-round draft pick? Understand, everybody who thinks that this will stunt the growth of Xavier Woods and Lewis, no. If anything, this will help to accelerate, because you're talking about a guy who knows the system that Chris Richard is doing flat out. The Cowboys want that guy. They've already tried to get that guy. If you can get him at a discount, trust me, you can make the numbers work. But then again, what do I know? I'm just an idiot with a voodoo doll that's kicking back on the back deck, enjoying the weather. That's it in a nutshell, guys. They can make the numbers work. I'm Mark Holmes. This is Cowboy Jobu. And thank you guys for watching the Jobu Sports Report. And be sure to tune in tomorrow night for our live stream at 9 o'clock Eastern, because we definitely will be talking about this. I'll see you soon. Oh, you guys are still watching? Man, I got work to do. Get out of here.
This is gonna make me cry.
What? He doesn't eat spicy food? I do not eat spicy food.
But how's the taste though?
That's bomb. It's good.
Good chicken. Texture, man.
But you still eat them, huh? Even though they're that hot.
It's the pain from the spiciness and the love from the.
They're good. They're really good. I need a beer though.
I got some over here in the cooler, my man.
I'm not trying it because I've seen them pre-try it.
Oh, dang it.
That video, Mark.
Oh, yeah, grab my man a beer out of here.
Can I get a beer?
Yeah, I'm distributing beer.
Oh, fuck.
Oh,
I'll take it.
wait. Oh, there you go. You lucked out. One last beer. Oh. I mean, you can handle it. They're hot. All right, man. Thanks, man. All right, no problem. Damn.
I gotta open it with something, goddammit.
Here, let me. There we go. Oh, that's good.